I'll hit that to start. I'll start the broadcast. See, now it's showing people in there. I don't know what that is, but we got.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Make Carl a presenter. All right. Oh, I gotta say yes over here. Carl Rockman. Let me see where you are here. You're over here. Staff. It won't let me unmute his phone. Click to unmute. Oh, there you go. Carl.
David?
Carl Rockman.
Chairman Noel, can you hear me?
Hey, Carl.
You can hear me?
I can't, but I can't hear him. So that's
David?
Cannot hear him. All right, sit tight, Carl. We got one of us can hear you, but I can't hear you. So just sit tight for a sec.
That's great. Super.
How did I lose my pane? My dashboard. Where does that go? You know what I'm saying? Where's that? Attendees question. It's underneath. All right, so let me do this. There we go. So how do I get it back? There you go. So I see Carl on, and he's unmuted. But for some reason, I can't. Carl, I'm going to have to do a couple slides before you share. So you're going to have to pull those off until I got to do some opening slides, and then we'll put you up there and give you full authority. Full authority.
Okay, that's
Please,
fine.
sir. I can't hear him at all. Carl? Hey, Carl.
David?
No.
David, can you hear me?
See, you can hear him, but I can't. Yeah, we're doing a little testing here, Carl. Just bear with us for a sec. We had somebody in here this week kind of move some pieces around. We got to reconnect to make sure we can get remote users because he was doing it internally. What does this mean? Hey, Carl.
Hey, David. David.
Oh, there
Chairman Noel.
we got him. All right, Carl. You sound great.
Hey. Well, thank you. You do too.
Well, thank you, sir. Welcome. And we, always have these little technical hiccups there, but that's what live radio is about. So
absolutely.
But the people on so far are hearing us, so we'll just go through a little bit. Yeah, I've just got a few slides, Carl, to just address a couple things for FAI.
Great.
And then
great.
What I thought we would do is go ahead and test. But it looks like as soon as you pop back in, you showed your screen. So you want to try that again now that I've.
I would like to do that. And I'm going to bring up I want to bring up another version of this. I want to bring up an Adobe version. So give me just a second. But I would like to test that, make sure we've got good functionality.
Yeah, Mike's bringing it up on the screen now for viewers. So just bear with us a second, and then we'll have you pop up your screen. It's stuck? Okay. Well, I started it. That's what's weird. Yeah, just bear with us a minute, Carl.
Sure, no problem.
All right, folks, welcome to another edition of Friday Morning Live. It is May 29th, 2020. Coming to you live from Tallahassee, Florida. We have our special guest, Carl Rockman, in a minute. Join us from Citizens for a Citizens Update. But just want to go through a couple things here as we kick off today's show and bring everybody up to date on some things that are happening at FAI. There's yours truly, Dave Newell, your host this morning. So Hope everybody's doing well as we do each week. Let's stand up and stretch. Stand up and stretch. Yeah, I don't know where that screen went, Mike, but hopefully you all are seeing the stand up and stretch prompt there. So go ahead and do that while you're getting ready for today's show. Just a couple reminders as we do each week, the coronavirus industry updates. There's a lot of information on our website, all housed in one place. So certainly browse that each week as you do, and certainly use those resources to your benefit to help. Sheila responded, I work standing up 10 hours every day. All right, Sheila, thanks. That's I know a lot of people are using the stand-up desks, so as their work mode. But yeah, coronavirus industry updates, certainly check those out on our website. And then again, a host of blogs each week. Several of them were highlighted in the Agents Confidential that was published yesterday. So certainly take a look at those and use those articles and information to share with your staff and clients as needed. So, and then, the top questions we're receiving at FAI, just unfortunate. As many of you know, we had to cancel our June convention in Orlando. And recently, we had to make a tough decision to cancel the Summer Leadership Conference in St. Augustine. We were trying to reschedule some things, but unfortunately, folks, it didn't work in our favor. So we had to just punt for this year. So we will not have an in-person June conference or an in-person Summer Leadership Conference in August. We are working on it as of today, a virtual conference to help tide some of those breakout sessions and some of the speakers that we had lined up. So be on the lookout for that. We're having a meeting today to try to figure all that out. So bear with us. Membership renewals, folks. We're excited that you're a member of FAIA, and those renewals will start probably hitting your inboxes late June, 1st of July. So for a September 1 renewal. So I just wanted to give you a reminder of that. Appreciate your membership at FAI, and we've already had several requests, believe it or not, from those folks that wanted to go ahead and renew early. So certainly reach out to Melissa Weaver here at FAI. She's our membership director. Be glad to assist with those requests. So ADA compliance, we talked about this just about every week. A memo went out to every agency principal about this issue and the onslaught of potential lawsuits for ADA compliance on your website. So hopefully you've gotten those. Many of you have already responded to me or Laura that the website is fixed. Everything's good. And of course, you're going to be receiving. I talked to a couple agents yesterday, and they're now getting the phone calls from the attorney, the plaintiff's lawyer for those lawsuits that wants to set up meetings and calls and virtual meetings to talk about a settlement. So we certainly heed to the warnings of the letter that was penned and sent to every agency principal last week. If you have any further questions, reach out to FAIA, Laura Pierce specifically, our general counsel, and she'll be glad to guide you down that path. Then the last thing I want to talk about is something that Amanda Chatham penned earlier this week that was highlighted in the Confidential yesterday about E&O lawsuits from COVID-19. Certainly, folks, I'm sure you may have had some of these conversations already, but I know from just reading the industry news that this is going to be highlighted over the next probably year to 2 years, where the plaintiff's bar is looking at things that they feel that they can secure coverage by attacking some of the COVID-19 initiatives through coverage or through inaction or so on and so forth. So certainly read Amanda's article and be guided by some of that information. Again, any questions, let us know. Post it to the community, and we'll certainly get it answered. But I think we're in for a ride there on some of the lawsuits that'll be coming from the COVID-19. Web-based learning, we're still locked and loaded to continue to offer web-based learning. Those numbers continue to grow. We're probably going to kick off some live classes later in the summer. just depending on hotels and other things. But certainly, please check out our calendar for the web-based learning. Have a lot of classes, a lot of opportunity. And again, I stress, and David Thompson, Jeff Odom, and other instructors that we have out on contract, if you have something of need, if you have a concern and you like to do a lunch and learn or a class on a specific topic, you don't see it on our roster, we probably have it, behind the scenes, or we can put it together. So please, I encourage. David has done several virtual on-site classes for agencies over the last couple of weeks, from an E&O perspective to certificates to automobile to condos. So I just name a few of them. So if you want us to consider those, please let us know. We'd be glad to help and assist with those things. So, all right, Carl. Well, I'm going to, that's all I had to say. And the last thing is we're bringing up Carl Rockman from Citizens, is we encourage throughout today's show, like we do each week, please send us some questions because we'll try to get to as many as we can throughout the broadcast. And then for many that we can't answer, we'll certainly answer them offline. Carl, I've elevated you. And so there you go. You can show your screen. But yeah, folks, I want to welcome in Carl Rockman of Citizens. Certainly Carl has been at Citizens a few years. He'll do a little bit on his bio as he pulls up his PowerPoint, but have had a good working relationship. Many on this call have met Carl at different meetings, at different functions, certainly at convention, a lot of local board events. He's very active in our community world. So there's Carl. There's a picture of Carl and some of his background. And he's not that old, but he is the senior director of agency and market services. So, but welcome, Carl. Good morning.
Thank you, Chairman Newell, and thanks for having us. We do appreciate the partnership with FAIA, and I think we do some great work together. My contact information for anyone on the phone today is available on the bottom left-hand side. There could be some things we get into today, particularly during the Q&A, that you might want some follow-up on. My phone is always answered. My email is monitored by me. So I look forward to any dialogue we need to get into after this conversation today. So, okay. Chairman Newell, with your support, I'll go ahead and move into the presentation if that sounds okay.
Yep. Thanks, Carl.
Great. Okay, I do want to mention FAI and Citizens has had a great partnership over the years. There's two primary vehicles that we use to get agency feedback. One is our Market Accountability Advisory Committee, and Dave Newell on the phone is the chairman of that committee. So we recognize Dave's support for the MAC and all the great work that it does. And then we always like to recognize the two additional members of FAIA that represent FAIA at our agent roundtable, and that's John Garner and Robert Norberg. A lot of you on the phone know these two great professional agents. These guys are not shy about bringing it to us in terms of opportunities for improvement. And we learn a lot from our dialogue with John and with Robert every time we get together, including our upcoming agent roundtable meeting next week. 2 full hours of updates and content and feedback opportunities for these two gentlemen. Dave, I wanted to kick off the meeting today with featuring the 6 somewhat busy people these days, and that's our field agency managers. I'm going to get into a lot of citizens issues today, and I'm sure the questions will bring some citizens issues to the table. The markets are shifting. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not looking for business. I'm not looking to grow. But the marketplace may demand that citizens become a solution for some of your customers. If anyone on the phone here is going to be doing citizens at any level and you don't have a relationship with one of our managers, you're missing an opportunity. These folks are not going to walk into your office and ask for a rollover. They're not going to walk into your office and do things that you might think a traditional manager might do for a company. These folks are your advocates. They're here to support you and your staff, develop them, educate them, do things that are necessary to help your agency evolve potentially into having to support citizens' customers more dynamically than you have in the past. Okay? I'm going to leave those names and numbers up there. Obviously, my email and phone is available. A lot of these agency managers are already connected with the folks on the phone. Okay? And Dave, as you've taught us over the years, and coming from the private market myself, there's no substitute for a relationship. And if anyone out there doesn't think that Citizens wants to have a relationship with you, you've missed the last 5 years. Okay, we're telling you, we listen, we are on receive, we understand the dynamics in the marketplace, and these 6 professional people understand your agency and understand what it takes. So please, please engage us on the road ahead, because I think the road ahead has got some opportunities for all of us. But want to make sure that these great people are featured, and we want to make sure that you're aware of the support that they can bring. We always like to show the footprint, very basic footprint, because I think it's always a great story to tell the agents on the phone how big is Citizens from a distribution standpoint. And this is a slide, Dave, as you know, we use at the MAC all the time, but I think it tells a very interesting story. Right now, Citizens stands at 7,125 appointed agents, 6,986 as of April. Well, that's down a little bit. Primarily, Dave, that's due to probably consolidations and acquisitions, but we do anticipate a bit of an uptake as more business may come to Citizens. But the takeaway here, folks, is approximately 7,000 agents have access to Citizens. The price, the product, okay? It's a lot of distribution footprint, a lot to manage, and we need your support, but we're up for it. And I think we do a pretty good job. The other piece down here in blue, 63% of the Citizens agents only have 50 policies or less. And that's a good thing, given Citizens' mission. Do we expect that to uptick? Maybe, potentially. But all of you on the phone know if you have less than 50 policies, that's not a lot of shelf space in your agency, may not command the attention of your staff. They may need additional help and support for those few policyholders, and we're standing by to help. And obviously, we have a few more agencies that rely on Citizens a little bit more. But the footprint, Dave, I think always tells a story about the size and scope of Citizens, and also how the customers we mutually serve are distributed. So always as a conversation starter and one we like to bring up. At the top of the call, Dave mentioned COVID. And obviously, we are in a respond mode to COVID as well. In the next few slides, I'm going to share with you some information that you should be able to take away, okay? And it should give you an edge as you're working with Citizens customers. But the very first thing I want to make sure everyone's aware of is we have made some exceptions due to COVID. We understand the marketplace has changed, your offices are closed, the customers are in a tough spot. So we've issued guidance on this, it's on our website, but I know with everything going on, it can be easy to miss. So I want to remind everybody there are exceptions and things that we've done for COVID that you can take advantage of to help your customers and your agencies through this tough time. Primarily around things that we've done to soften the touch on new business a bit, okay? We're allowing alternate 4-point inspections. We're allowing alternates on wind hail exclusion forms, roof documentation, uniform NIT, and proof of prior. Now, I need everyone's support, okay? These are exceptions where they're warranted and needed. If you submit 20 pieces of business with Citizens, we're not looking for 20 exceptions on every piece, and we're monitoring it. Believe me. But please, you also need to understand that we're making these exceptions for the good of the consumer and for the good of the marketplace right now. And it's important that everyone understand what the rules are and what the competitive landscape is. So want to make sure at the top of the call that we've explored these COVID rules, and folks on the phone understand that we have made exceptions. They're not waivers. These are deferrals. So our underwriting department, when things settle down, will reserve the right to come back for some of these. But please remember right now, if your customer's in a tough spot, if they're quarantined up north but can't do something down here, you can only imagine the scenarios, and I know everyone out there is dealing with them. But Citizens listens. Citizens is all about the customer and the agency and making sure that we help manage these rather difficult times that we're all in. Another forecasting piece for the agencies that I want to make sure everyone's aware of is we're going to be going through what we call an administrative blackout from 6/8 to 7/19. Now, what is that? What that means is we're going to be standing up a brand new agency administration system called myAgency. And some of you on the phone got a bulletin from me a couple of days ago with a lot more detail. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving off of the antiquated older systems we used to appoint your staff, to appoint your agents, and to build new agencies, and move to a much better, more stable, more dynamic platform that we're going to debut on 7/20. When you see this, and our ART members have seen it, it is absolutely going to change the administrative relationship that you have with citizens. Absolutely change it. Adding and deleting a staff will be easier than ever. The administration of your agency record with citizens will be easier than ever. But more importantly, in phase 2, we're going to start being able to deliver analytics and dashboards to you on your citizens book. And why is that important? It's very important that you understand and we understand what the citizens book is in your agency and what it means. Okay, because there's a lot of conversations that we can have around that. But in order to stand up that system, we need to shut down the old one, migrate it. So from 6.8 to 7.19, book of business agent by cell requests, book of business transfers, all those types of things we still can do. Okay, but it's going to be the adding of staff, the deleting of staff, those types of things we won't be able to support from 6.8 to 7.19. Okay, so I'm telling you this today because a lot of you may be sitting on some things. You may need to add a staff or terminate a staff. Please bring that forward now, because between 6.8 and 7.19, we're going to be in a blackout period, and then 7.20 will be emerging on the new system with lots of training and communication around that. The other big piece is agency renewals. If any of you do one thing administratively with citizens every year, it's renew your agency. And we built this system with the renewal process in mind. I think you will be extremely pleased with how renewals are administered in the system. Extremely pleased. The feedback we're getting is incredibly good. So we look forward to debuting that. But if any of you out there renewed with citizens in June, July, and August, we've already communicated to you that we've moved your renewal date out to September, and we'll be getting with you when the new system stands up. So no agency renewals, no fees for producers for June, July, and August, which again has a kind of a collateral benefit to where we are today, and we're happy to defer that until September. Okay. Dave, I'm going to take a pause here because I know you had a question or two come in. I've got a lot more content, but those are the big messages, and then I've got some technical things to share. But I know you had a question come in, or one or two. Yeah, and I'd like to go ahead and get those before time gets too short.
Now's the time. Pose your questions. Let us know, and certainly one that we'll be doing is Carl, we are recording this, so it'll be available to agents to replay and utilize, and certainly several are asking about the slides. Is that something that you all would consider providing to people on the call today?
Typically, these slides are coming from content we've already created. This renewal slide, the one I'm showing now, is a little bit contemporary for the purpose, but a lot of the slides I'm going to show you are already part of approved education materials. We already have them posted. Okay. So I would just say anyone on the phone that wants some additional content on direction, I'll flash my email up at the end of the show, and we'll be happy to connect you with the content as well. Okay.
All right, here we go. Can new agencies be appointed during the blackout? So you talked about adding, deleting staff. What about a new agency that needs to be appointed during that blackout, Carl?
Exactly. Dave, it's going to be very difficult for us, near impossible for us to appoint a new agency during the blackout with one caveat. We are very, very conscious of market activity, okay? Capital preferred as a use case. Know that we are prepared to sense and respond to market actions, okay? And if something were to happen where we had to create new citizens relationships quickly, we're prepared to sense and respond to that. Okay. So I'll make that commitment to everybody on the phone. Okay. But the typical day-to-day agency moving from Minnesota that wants to start in Palatka on the 15th of June, I'm going to have to make him wait. He's going to have to wait until 7/20. But know that, Dave, on the flip side, if there's a huge market action where we need to respond, we'll be there. Okay. So this is more the day-to-day agency that needs to get started.
I'm going to answer a few more, Carl, and then we'll move on. But
sure.
John Carter just asked a question. Unfortunately, John, we don't answer your questions during Friday morning live. Just kidding. But Carl, this is not from John. Will an invoice for lender and declaration paid be issued simultaneously for insureds at binding?
Give that to me one more time.
Will an invoice for lender and declaration page be issued instantaneously, for insureds at binding?
If I understand the question correctly, here's how our system works. And it's a little unknown feature that you might like. When you set up a piece of new business in Citizens, you get past the clearinghouse, you're in Policy Center, you're completely done. There's two elements to completing the application. One, upload all the required documents and hit submit. The second is fund the policy, remit money. I'm going to cover that on a slide in a minute. If you have your documents uploaded and the submit button pushed and you have funds on the policy, Policy Center will issue a declaration page and an invoice within seconds. Light speed, seconds. Okay? That absolutely is a function and a feature of Policy Center that we really like. So, but the issue though, a reminder for everybody, particularly for mortgagees, is we don't invoice the mortgagee. We need you to facilitate that. That is something we're working diligently on. It's a great suggestion from our ART to bill the mortgagee directly on new business. We're working on it, but for now, everyone be aware, if you're working on a mortgagee new business payor type issue, the invoice will print in Policy Center, but we need you to get that in the hands of the bank so the bank can fund the policy. Okay?
Okay.
Pretty good?
As long as viewers are not in the full screen mode, they should have a screenshot of, I think John's answering the question. Okay, my bad.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. Sorry for the obvious question, Carl, but what about writing business during the blackout period? Will this be impacted?
No. You still have the ability, if you're an appointed agent with Citizens, you'll still have the ability to write business during the blackout period. There'll be no business disruption for you at any time for that reason. Okay. And Dave, we're probably getting a little, go ahead. I'm good, go ahead.
Is Citizens considering allowing to add the account managers that quote and service the accounts? Currently, only the appointed producers have a login.
We have the new system is going to allow us to raise the awareness on the number of roles that we have in an agency. Currently, right now, we have appointed agent roles. We have licensed customer representative roles. We have limited agent roles. And with the debut of the new system, we'll be debuting a view-only role. I would say that there's not a role in your agency that we can't accommodate with an individual credential, and we are absolutely committed to eliminate credential sharing in agencies. But in order for us to do that, we need to support you with more roles. We understand that part, okay? So there's roles that exist today. If your office is jumping on the same credential for an appointed agent, let's talk. Let's not do that. One, it can be perceived as a violation of your agreement. It's not good security practice, and with all the roles we have, we certainly can accommodate every agent out there. So don't have that in my slide deck today, Dave, but if the agent that asks that will get with me, we'll absolutely give them some awareness on the roles.
And a follow-up from Jay, who asked a question about the lender information. And so he said, true, but today only an application is issued and lenders do not accept the signed app. At times, lenders will only remit money with a deck page.
And a deck page prints. This is my point. This is my point, but you need money to print the deck page. And if the lender is holding the money, I have no deck page.
Gotcha.
We are working, Dave, and the ART knows this. We are working on an evidence of insurance form, though, that will be debuting. And the evidence insurance form is that bridge between a deck page and an app. Right? That evidence of insurance form is a lot better than what we have today. Right. We believe that's going to be the bridge to the lenders and something that's desperately needed. Okay.
All right, here we go, Carl. This is a lengthy one. Citizens is currently offering HO3 policies without a water damage sublimit or limitation, giving the insured uses a Citizens preferred vendor. Most other admitted carriers are offering the $10,000 sublimit for water damage claims. Our agency is big on providing full water coverage to our insurers when possible. Is the risk eligible for Citizens when there are no other admitted carriers willing to be able to offer full water damage coverage or same coverage they can secure and desire with Citizens?
Citizens eligibility rules are stated in statute. We understand the nuance where some carriers have curved out water, but as it stands right now, statutorily, the water exclusion is not the reason to make them eligible. The other reasons stand. And we get that. We know how difficult that can be. Okay. And right now, eligibility, I think, is becoming, I'll let the market speak for itself. Okay.
Right.
But the new one has come up before. Everyone has to realize the statutory stuff for clearinghouse was built, and then the water crisis hit. Okay. And the last thing we want to do is start opening the statute up for exception 6 and exception 7 and exception 8. Okay. But understood, your customer's in a tough spot if they have to go with a company that excludes water or caps water, I should say, when Citizens doesn't. We understand, we empathize, but right now it's not a reason to say that's why I'm writing Citizens. You need to lean on the other factors that drive eligibility in order to bring them in.
So additional point, also, when is Citizens going to limit assumptions or takeouts to only companies that will include the same water damage coverage included in the Citizens HO3 policy? I think you've kind of answered that, but you want to respond?
Yeah, and just a note on that, we work in great partnership with the OIR, but to remind the agents, the regulator has a lot of authority and control over depopulation. They're the ones that really approve the companies to participate. And Dave, I know your association is well aware of this contrast, right? Yeah. But obviously the regulator is the one that approves the company, their forms, their financial strength, et cetera. But we'll continue, obviously, to make everyone aware of that nuance in the marketplace. But it's not Citizens that says that's a depop company, they're good to go. There's regulatory oversight on that, folks, and just want to make sure everyone's aware of our partnership with the office.
We're getting feedback, Carl, that we can see your background of your screen. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Guys, everyone's working from home these days, right? And Dave's been kind enough to run through the Q&A with me. I have been wanting to get my screen adjusted so I can bring back full screen. So, all right. And I don't want to lose my stuff. So, Dave, we'll kind of struggle through here a little bit. You guys might get a preview of my family. But
that's great. A couple more. We received a violation for quoting A3 credit in Miami-Dade. I checked the manual and cannot find that anywhere to back up underwriting. So I think that's pretty specific, Carl, for that.
Right here. Anyone, hey, listen, Dave, I'm gonna help every agent on the line. If you've got the underwriting hall of mirrors of the day, there's my name and number. I get it. I understand. We do the best job we can, but those things I can't freestyle on the phone, but my phone and my email is right there. Okay? And that's, again, another opportunity for you guys to build a relationship with these people. I don't understand this. I'm getting it. These people, okay, but happy to help that particular agent if they will write that information down, and I will get them the response that they seek.
Absolutely. Will the system zero out binding violations that may exist from the old system?
It's a fair question. No, the binding violation and late submission program will continue. It is continuing. Dave, we obviously have relaxed some of the things because of COVID, particularly around the late submission. And our underwriters are watching the performance violations because obviously agents are using the deferral doc. So we've relaxed that, understanding the marketplace. But as COVID rules end and we roll into the new world, the performance violation program remains. We haven't stopped it. It's going to continue. And I will tell you right now, we just ran a webinar yesterday, Dave. Over 800 agents attended. 800. If that gives you any sense of what's going on out there. And what was the webinar on? Avoiding late submissions and binding violations. We have the program for a reason, folks. It's not to be punitive. With 7,000 agents, we have to police the competitive landscape. We also have to make sure the customer experience is as good as it can be. If agents are getting performance violations, it's typically related to an education opportunity around discounting the policy or quality, okay? Or it's something beyond that. And I think you're all looking at my group particularly to police that landscape, but more importantly, make sure the customer is well served. All right, so the program is there, but I'm watching the environment, Dave. I'm watching the landscape shift. 800 people came to that webinar yesterday because they want to make sure they're getting the support from Citizens and they don't fall into a situation where they're either suspended or terminated, particularly in this environment. Yeah. So great, fair question, but I'll seize the soapbox there for just a quick minute to reinforce the fact that the program continues, but I will tell you we've relaxed our stance a bit due to COVID here the last few months. May be transparent to the folks out there, but believe me, it's not to me because I see the numbers every day.
All right, can we get Citizens to provide a video as a refresh on how to service policies in Policy Center. Some staff may not have been in or handled stuff in a while, so it may help to have a video on demand to look at how to make a simple endorsement, upload a document, link a document, etc., to tell us if we are already in the LMS. We can push it out to the staff. So do you have something like that, Carl, already in LMS?
We will with the new learning system we're standing up, which I'm coming to in a minute. We're going to have elements of that, and we also are working on a more robust soup to nuts new business, right? Everything from pre-qualifying it, given our new product guides, through the clearinghouse, through Policy Center, all through issuance. We have it in different places, but consolidating it in the new learning system and presenting it to the agents is absolutely something we're committed to. In fact, there's a little bit of demand for webinars in that regard as well. So we're catching that agents are looking for that additional support and help, both for service work and for new business. Reach out to us because we have a lot of stuff on the shelf we can point you to, but then there's also some more dynamic things we're absolutely committed to put in front of agents and get them out quickly.
You know, Carl, you and I have had this conversation. I'm going to ask you the question about some of the changes that were adopted several years ago under Governor Scott and trying to reduce the policy count with citizens through a depopulation, but more so of having certain coverages available. And so a question has now come up, you know, as the market has shifted and changed, has there been any discussion about increasing the dwelling value, the TIV, that has reduced over the last several years, except for Miami-Dade and Monroe County?
Not at this time. We are statutorily limited. Curbs are in. Can't do over 700. Can't do over 1 million in Monroe and Dade. And we get it. You know, those things were there for a reason. But right now, there's nothing I'm holding back to say it's going to change. It would take, obviously, as you know, Dave. You know the levers that need to be pulled for that to change.
Yep.
Okay. And that's a market condition and availability. The feeling was there that those markets were there when those rules were put in. That's all I can say, but those rules still stand today. And folks, those rules do not shift overnight. Nope. So if you're an agent out there, and I'm saying this right now, I'm dealing with it now. I got 5 things. If you're an agency out there, I know you're doing it, guys. If you're not forecasting your renewals 3 or 4 months out and looking at these people that if they're 800,000, don't, if you know the market's going to shift, get on it now. Get on it. Okay. But right now, those rules stand for us.
Okay. All right. Well, let's ask one more, and then let's go to the presentation. Currently, when a customer has a managed claim, that the information be shared with the underwriters? Current customer gets upset when we call for proof of repairs when Citizens Managed prepared the claim. Currently, when a customer is a managed claim, can that information be shared with the underwriters?
The answer is yes. It can and it should. And I'll be the first to admit that we have a little bit of a handoff issue, okay, in some cases, between our claim department and underwriting department. We're diligently working through this. This has been an art issue that they brought to our attention. I would say to all the agents on the line, if you know that we settled the claim in MRP, the underwriters know that we settled it, and the underwriters can get access to it. But you know what? People get in a hurry. There's issues. Guys, everyone makes mistakes, right? We're not going to hassle the customer. If you feel like your customer is being hassled for information that we have, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go back here. All right. We'll help you. You also can call in, and I know you, but folks, if we have the information, we typically can get it to the underwriter. We shouldn't be going out to the customer for information that we know we have, particularly if it's MRP. We're working through some of the handoffs between the systems for more visibility. That's just an excuse, right? But believe me, I'm sitting here, and there's no reason if we have it in the claim file that we can't provide it to the underwriter. We might need your help. A little signal would help us. You can go through these folks. You can call into underwriting, and I'll tell you, if underwriting says something other than what I've told you, then definitely get us involved. But we've worked diligently through that, Dave, and we have an open list of projects to make that visibility even greater between the two. Because we love MRP. We want wide adoption. In fact, MRP is great because if you don't need a chase proof of repair, more reason to use MRP, correct?
Right, right.
So we are absolutely incented. We are absolutely committed to fix that, but I appreciate the concern from the agent. It's a legitimate one, and if you bump into that, we'll fix it.
This will be the last one for this session before we continue your presentation, because it now couples with the one I gotten offline on an email. When will we get a final answer if Citizens will be taking some or all of the CAP preferred Southern Fidelity policies? And if they are not, will Citizens be willing to work with those clients that have an open claim that are being canceled and cannot find coverage in the private market?
I do not want to get ahead of the official guidance on capital preferred. Know that it's been an open conversation inside the halls of Citizens with the regulator, et cetera. It's a very delicate issue, Dave, as you know, and we obviously have a BOG meeting next week. I would just say to the agents on the line that we are actively engaged in solutions, okay? And I would say to the agents on the line that the solutions and what we're going to do, if anything, should be revealed next week.
Okay.
Okay. That's all I can say at this end. Guys, you can appreciate the delicacy of that conversation and the fact that but Dave, I will say this, that, CAP preferred was one thing. In some ways it's in the rearview mirror. We're also forecasting ahead. Exactly. For the agents on the phone, CAP preferred is one move. For Citizens, we're looking obviously, much broader at the levels of support and things that we may or should do. So, fair question. I absolutely anticipated it today, guys, but today's not the capital preferred announcement day. But I would tell you, please stay tuned and please watch your mail. And again, please work with your agency manager, because if we can do anything at all, we absolutely want to get the word out to everybody so you guys can plan accordingly. But we are aware of the issues and obviously the sensitivity around helping the CAP preferred customers.
All right. Well, we have one agent, Carl, that will like you to throw your name into the hat for presidents. This is political season, so certainly if you're inclined, let's throw your name, Carl Rockman, for president. So, all right, here we go, Carl. The road ahead. Let's talk about what
the road ahead
agents can forecast in the future.
Absolutely. So I think one of the benefits of coming to Friday Morning Live is to get a forecast. You guys are all business people. So what the heck is Citizens going to throw at me in the next 4 quarters that I need to react to or be sensitized to? Q2, you can see a few things. The learning management system I just mentioned, which I think will be great. It's going to be much improved over what we have today. CAP preferred, I just talked about. COVID-19 rules are here. Guys, COVID-19 rules are in place, but nothing lasts forever. So please, please, please make sure you're aware of additional communication that we're likely to send around COVID-19 rules, particularly rules around payment. We haven't canceled people for payment. We haven't non-renewed people. We cannot do that forever, okay? We want to have a soft landing for people, and we're absolutely going to need the agents engaged in that strategy. So I would tell you, stay tuned on COVID-19, because we're in partnership together on this one. We want a great outcome for customers, a great outcome for agencies. And I think all of you want to, make sure that we're partnered together for those customers that needed to take advantage of the relaxed payment rules. But at some point, folks, we need to, bring that in for somewhat of a landing, but with proper care. All right. Florida specialty. Okay. A lot of you are involved in the Florida specialty piece. Okay. Watch for some guidance on Florida specialty as well. Again, Dave, I'm a little ahead of the news to some degree. The timing of this webinar is pretty unique. But we will be issuing some guidance on Florida specialty as well. A lot of you are involved in the chase for documents and the non-renewal aspects of Florida specialty, et cetera. So just watch for some information on that as soon as I can release it next week. But we are going to issue some guidance on that tranche of business. And then I want to mention to the agents on the line, you see Policy Center release 4 times at the bottom. We're absolutely committed to improve the experience for the agents in Policy Center and to a degree Clearinghouse, but we don't do it every day. It's very sequential. So what you're seeing us do now is take suggestions from the ART, look to develop new code and new things that we can put into Policy Center that eases eases the process, if you will. But those come very sequentially. They come 4 times a year. All right. This next release we're doing right now is a little bit light for the agents, but the Q3, Q4, there'll be some features and things in there that we know the agents will like. And again, our agent roundtable is our primary source of feedback on what we can do to improve the Policy Center experience. Okay, we realize, guys, that we get the feedback, Policy Center, we get it, But realize things like Florida specialty migration, these requests to support the marketplace with massive influx of business, you can't do that on ePass, guys. Okay, so believe me, Policy Center is our best friend when it comes to the ebbs and flows of this marketplace. Okay, so I'll just make a pitch for that. Two more things, Dave. myAgency rollout, Q3. For agency principals, please pay attention. You are the target audience for myAgency. We're not going to give myAgency to all your staff. We're going to give myAgency to the people whose name's on the door and your designees, and you can have as many of them as you like. Okay, so your office manager, clerk, whoever you want to have control over your staffing element with citizens, we'll have that out for you in Q3. A phase 2 with the analytics, and then Dave, we always get questions on rates. Rates are coming Q1. Okay, Q1. So with all the turbulence in the marketplace, what's Citizens going to throw at me in terms of rates? Guys, the waters are what they are right now until Q1, February. Okay, and we obviously have to go through approvals and filings. You guys all know that. So any rate adjustments at all are not going to come until February. Okay, and then even then, they're still, you know, subject to approval and all kinds of other things that have to happen. Okay. Okay. Product changes as well, Dave. The thing I mentioned about the form for evidence of insurance, some other features on the application, those will all be part of. Sorry, guys. Those will all be part of our delivery in Q2 or Q1 2021. So I can talk about those, but guys, be patient with us on the delivery. Okay. Dave, a couple of quick things here. I want to go into a real quick theme here for about 5 minutes on saving time and money and enhancing your customer experience. I have a few things to throw at the agents to make sure that you're aware that these things are out there and they can really be beneficial to you because we get great feedback. Number one, uninsurable risks. All right. This is a tough one for us. Citizens still has underwriting rules that talk about the condition of the property not making it ineligible for citizens. Okay. Know that we know it, lots of conversation, but for now, the rules are the rules. This product guide or this guide that I'm showing you is available on our website. Folks can email me directly. We put this together primarily for you and your staff not to necessarily waste time with a customer who isn't eligible under today's rules. And if they are eligible, what do you need to qualify them? Okay, I won't go through this in detail because the time doesn't permit, but this form is your best friend. If the home is under 30 years old, what do you need? If the home is 31 to 60 years old, what do I need? Condition of the roof, electrical, plumbing. This is, what do citizens want? What do they want? This form tells you on our personalized products pretty much what do you need in order to get it to qualify. And if the customer doesn't fit these descriptions, you know you're going to need to engage us because it's likely to hit some turbulence and we're going to need some additional help if we can take it at all. So that's again available on the web. Just wanted to point that out to everybody. My Policy. Your next best friend is to get customers to engage with the My Policy portal. Now, this is modest compared to some of the other companies you folks work with. Okay, but the My Policy portal, when the customer signs up, it allows them to do the reporting of a claim online. Nothing more important with cat season coming up. They can pay online. Folks, the days of mailing checks to citizens should be over. Okay, what are we doing? Right? We've got to get more e-payment going. We've got to get the customers engaged. My Policy will do that. And then managing accounts online. Some of your customers are landlords. Some of your customers are investors. So the ability to manage accounts there. My Policy, again, your best friend, particularly at new business, encouraging the customer to sign up. Let My Policy take its place. Again, it's another online portal that we have good adoption on, but I won't be satisfied. So every customer, other than the seasoned citizen who's not techno-able, has My Policy. Speaking of payments, again, on the save time and money theme, policyholder e-payment, agent e-payment. Policyholders have multiple options now to pay other than mailing us a check. Okay, they can go to our public website, payments at the top of the page, make a one-time payment, and they're done. And to the gentleman's point, or whoever asked the point about the closing and getting a deck printed, what's really cool about one-time payment, everybody, is you're in Policy Center, you've got a bound application, you've uploaded all your docs, you're on the phone with the customer. It's going to be $1,200 to fund this policy. You can take the customer to the public website. They can do it on their phone. Give them the policy number. they hit a button, and they can fund the policy there. The money will post within seconds, and the policy will issue. Commission. With me? Fund it right there, right? You also can draft the customer's account through agent e-payment. I know I have this clunky little form over here. I get it, okay? There's an e-payment form that's required, but you can ACH the payment out of the customer's account right in Policy Center. Why wouldn't you? Please do it. Mailing a check, right? Why? Let's get that payment in. Pay by phone, always an option. And then a little visibility, Citizens doesn't take credit cards as a merchant. We do not. You can, though, as an agent, contract with third-party providers who will allow you to take a credit card payment. They will fund the fund, they will remit the funds to you, and you can remit the funds to us. A little clunky, admittedly, but if you're looking for credit card facilitation, we're not going to provide it. We're not going to be a merchant, but agents more and more are adopting this policy. Customer pays the markup, customer pays the interchange fee. So the customer is going to have the fee on top of their premium, but it's available. And I would encourage everyone, if you want to find out more about that, guidance on the website, just hit credit cards in the agent portal, and it'll take you right there. One other quick piece, guys, save time and money, new business. A quick tip, if your mailing address and your property address are different for any line of insurance, but particularly DP3 and HO3, it gets my underwriters all excited, okay? And we're going to work on some logic in the system that makes this a little bit more, make you more aware that we're looking for more information. But if you have property and mailing address that are different, it's something that causes us some concern. We want a little bit more definition. They're a snowbird, they're this, they're that. Narrate some stuff in notes for us. It would be a big help. We have a lot of underwriters pursuing, hitting your queue. You're busy people. This is a very simple thing to solve up front. We're going to work on giving you some better prompts, but for now, I can't encourage you enough, particularly with the amount of snowbirds we have, investors we have. There's a lot of logical reasons why this would be. Give us some notes on it. It would be a big, big help. Signatures. Remember, there's performance violations for missing signatures. Okay, missing signatures. Relax for a bit now, but post-COVID, it's going to change. On a bound application, I need your signature, and I need at least one of the named insureds. Okay. On the win-loss mitigation, I need the inspector and the current. I know this is painful, but I need the current named insured. And what's often missing on the WLM is the customer's signature. The inspector is doing electronically, doesn't get the customer to sign, gives it to you, okay? Exclusion forms you get. We do e-signature. Again, I don't have a credit card platform. I don't have a DocuSign platform, but I can't imagine an agency of any size in today's environment not having a DocuSign or an electronic signature platform. I don't know how you guys are doing it without it. We will accept those 100% of the time, except on the windstorm and hail coverage exclusion that has to be handwritten by law. Guys, e-signature is your best friend, even with COVID, but without it, know that Citizens takes e-signatures. We're seeing more and more agents adopt that, okay? David, I'll just hit hurricane real quick, and then we'll close out with some questions. Hurricane prep, guys, can't have a meeting before the 1st of June without hurricane prep. Two things. Remember, Citizens will shut down the entire state if the wind is blowing in one small part of it. We don't have geocoding binding restrictions. We don't shut down county by county. We shut down the state of Florida, okay? That is what it is, but I'm telling you this because as deals are coming in and as the stuff comes up the Caribbean, you don't want to linger if you need a Citizens policy bound. Do not linger, okay? Because the minute the warnings go up, we're done. All right, so don't fall into that situation where you're not able to provide coverage for a customer. And obviously, feel free to tell your customers that's the rule too, but that is the biggest piece of warning I can give everybody. If a hurricane hits, we're still committed to send you lists of your customers, downloading this claim, downloading this information to your Ivan's piece, John Garner's personal passion. Absolutely, we get it, don't have it, need to have it. But for now, we're going to give you a list of customers that are impacted by a hurricane claim with all kinds of information. Great brochures. Thank you, Christine Ashburn and her team. Look at these brochures that you can provide to your customers that talk about, am I covered? Common themes like, is theft covered? Or hotel expenses covered? How good is this? Both brochure and PDF, right, to your customers. These are common questions that come up. And then the deductible. Boy, oh boy, we love those conversations, right? This brochure does a great job of explaining the hurricane deductible, what it means. This is a good brochure for new business, not when the storm blows. But we promote it here in the cat theme because it often comes up. And last on this, quick reference guides available on our web. These are the most common questions that our claim department has developed that come up after the storm. Is this covered? Is that covered? Is this covered? Again, you're not adjusters. We get it. But we don't want you on your heels with a very common question where you're looking for some guidance. So for both personal and commercial lines, we've developed those and present them here. Okay. Dan, we're getting close to time, and I have a few more things, but I'm more interested in the questions.
Rock and roll with some questions, Carl. If it was this the fast money part of the show today. So just a comment from Mel Montagny. Wants to give a big shout out to commercial underwriting at Citizens for being so helpful with several challenges, specifically to Sherry Higginbotham and Stephen Mostella. So shout out to those folks, Carl. Pass that along, please.
We will take it, and Mel, thank you for that, and know that the commercial markets are very, very much on our mind right now for a lot of reasons. Okay, so we appreciate that feedback, Mel. Thank you.
Will you be putting out a list of upcoming webinars for new agents and CSRs?
On the training portal, if everyone goes to, obviously go to our public portal, go behind the wall to the agent portal, go to training, any webinars that we are going to run are going to be posted there. Now, I'm in a little bit of a transition because when I stand up my new learning system, I'm going to have you go through there to register. But folks, any live webinar training that we do is posted there, and we actually recorded yesterday's. So you don't need to come in live to get the experience. Yesterday's recording will be posted in the next couple of days. So hit that training section of our portal, and obviously you can listen to the recordings that were previously done and register for anything upcoming that we're doing in the next 2 months.
All right. Does Brian Woodham handle Southwest Florida, Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties?
He does, along with Kelly Abel, and we're looking at that because we're starting to get a little bit more signals from that part of the world. So Brian Woodham would be a great resource for that area, and then Kelly Abel would also back him up as well.
May have missed it, but I do not see a territory manager for Central Florida. Interesting.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Right now, let me go back to the maps back here. Central Florida, solo, right?
Yeah.
Solo, we've got pretty much, we're looking at Kelly potentially coming in and Brian. Both Kelly and Brian are based in Tampa, and Eddie's based in Tampa. My other guys are South Florida. So solo guys, if you're out there, get ready. We hear you. We see what's happening. And between Brian and Kelly and Eddie, we're looking at what we got to do to support that area as well. It's a little new for us, Dave, because we haven't had a lot of demand for Citizens in solo. Things change. So know the solo guys. If you're out there, wait for us to reach out. If not, get in touch with us.
All right. Try to get everybody out on time. What is the time frame for introduction of the evidence of insurance process you talked about earlier?
It's going to be February. It'll be part of the new product changes and things that we do. And it's still, guys, it still has to go through OIR approval. So I'm giving you guys, I shouldn't even be talking about it, candidly, but we feel pretty confident in it. It's a huge ART app. The ART will get a sneak peek of it. But again, subject to regulatory approval, like all of our race, it's a form, guys. I think you can explain that. But I think whether I have it or not, our intention is good. The fact that we recognize that we're a little soft in that space, supporting you guys is something that we recognize. We're hoping this form will go a long way, but it's not a tomorrow thing, unfortunately. You still can use ACORD forms appropriately with proper guidance. ACORD is still good, but obviously one the system produces is everyone's best friend.
Another shout out, Carl, from Esther. Great to have Vicki LaFels back in the wind underwriting side. So shout out to
Wonderful.
Yeah. So
wonderful. Good to hear.
Along.
Thank you. We will.
Let's see, Carl. All right. Again, the open claim. What is the stance right now on a policy navigating into Citizens when they can't find a home in the private market with an open claim or any claim, whether it's open or closed? Carl, what's the current stance?
Yeah. And here's what I would say to all the agents. This is again, a very active conversation. If you look at our filed rules right now, our filed rules say existing damage, you got a problem. But the reality is that, we're here. We are not in the business of taking everything, guys. Here's what I would tell you. And look for us, again, coming forward with some additional guidance on this. Couple things. You need to give if you're going to present something to us that we would all consider marginal, stuff with an existing damage and an open claim, your first best friend is time. Calling at 4 o'clock on a Friday when the due date is Saturday with this condition, guys, come on. Okay? So a future effective piece of business presented to our underwriting group 45 to 60 days out with a problem is your best friend. Let's start there. The second thing is the damage, and the damage can be everything from a couple of pieces of chipped stucco to the roof isn't on. I've seen it all. Okay? We're humans. We look at this thing, and the fact is we do look at these risks one-on-one to a large degree. Okay? Knowing what the damage is, knowing all the facts is necessary for both our commercial and personal lines underwriters as well. Okay? So we're willing to listen and we're willing to work. We're not in a position to say, bring it all, because we have rules that are filed and we're obligated to be governed by. At the same time, we understand the market conditions and what's happening out there. So Dave, my best guidance to the agents out there is you need to know the extent of the damage. And believe me, if we're even entertaining something, and I'm not setting policy here, Dave, I'm just in the Q&A. I want to be clear. I want to be on the record with that. Clearly, an underwriter at any company is going to want to know how bad, and they're going to want to see what? Visual evidence. Visual evidence, again, is our best friend. How do you get visual evidence? Well, it's not a guy with an iPhone, right? It's got to be somebody or someone committed to really give all that evidence to the underwriters. So, Dave, I would say I know it's out there. I know there's companies that are backing up. There's claims that aren't resolved, and there's open stuff, and the wind is blowing. Please, time and evidence are your best friend, and let's go. I can't promise you that we're going to do them, but I have to see them in order to even know. Okay, and that's all I would say about that. And then again, your agency manager group can be a bridge for you, and then our underwriting group, both commercial and personal lines, obviously are standing by.
Okay, so, Carl, when can agents expect training on the myAgency portal?
They can expect training on the myAgency portal starting on 7/5. 7/5 will have a learning management course. We will have a series of webinars that we will post, and we'll also have a kind of a hands-on myAgency plan for a few folks. But webinars and the LMS will all be on the system on or around 7/4, 7/5, right before the July holiday. Agents will be able to go in there, see a preview of the system. We'll run live webinars. When it turns on, we'll be reaching out to agents, and we'll have a nice feedback loop. But very excited to stand that up. But after the 4th of July is when the action will start.
All right. So with intent of repair agreements on new business, homeowners dwelling, how would we get approval without a binding violation?
Well, one, talk to us beforehand if at all possible. I know that's easier said than done because the mechanism to get the evidence to us is typically a policy. The underwriters have my full support on certain conditions. If you're working with us and presenting it to us as not something you're trying to get away with, then I think I know the underwriters are going to give you some slack there. What ends up happening though, typically, is we get it with 2 days to go. And the underwriters are looking at it a week after, and now what's happened? You've bound us to a risk that isn't even close, guys.
Yep.
What are we supposed to do? So, guys, I love you. And I know these people show up on game day. But let's be honest, all right? You know your renewals. All of you out there have renewals that you know have this problem. You know you have them now. Don't wait 2 weeks out. Start working them now. Yep. Quickly. Okay? Please, because we can only do so much, if anything at all. And then I don't know, Dave, what the road's going to hold for the future in terms of other things that could hit us. So let's all just work with the customers we know. Again, I'm not setting policy on this call. The rules are the rules, but certainly we understand there's going to be certain customers with certain conditions that we have to address.
Well, Carl, thank you so much for being on today's show. There's a few more questions. We'll try to get those offline, but because it's right at 11 o'clock and know everybody's got a busy day ahead of them. But I want to thank Carl Rockman from Citizens for being so candid and open and answering questions, but also providing some real good information for agents take away and certainly share with their staff. A couple questions came in. We will upload this recording under the Education tab under Friday Morning Live. Hopefully, if not today, it'll be Monday. So just be on the lookout that if you want to listen to it again or share with your staff that couldn't be on this call today. Want to thank everybody for tuning in each week for the last several weeks since we've been under COVID-19. We're going to put Friday Morning Live on the shelf right now. We'll probably dust it off again in a few weeks with some other upcoming information. But at least for right now, this is our last show for Friday Morning Live up until probably July or August. So we'll take a few weeks off. But thanks for everybody for tuning in. I'm not a quitter. I am not a quitter. But so, again, thank everybody. Thank Carl. Thank everybody for tuning in each week. Hopefully you've learned a lot about what's going on in the industry. I want to also do a shout out for Robert and John Gardner, Robert Norberg and John Gardner, for sitting on ART and helping represent FAI members with issues and concerns and bringing them to Carl and his staff's attention. So, again, some more shout out and thank you for that. But be safe, folks, as you go on about your business. FAI's offices will be open on Monday, so staff will start returning here on Monday, where most of us, as you know, have been working remotely. So, but be safe. Let us know if we can help in any way, and have a great weekend, and talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.